What
Right.
is the point of this video? Do you know? Did you come to any conclusions on
the point? Well, you mean? What is Philosophy Tube's point on this video?
right? It's very meandering. They She talks in a lot of generalities about social constructs. I mean, I social constructs are a real thing. Like regardless of Marxian theory, I think
Sure.
sociologists talk about social constructs all the time, right? Money's a social construct.
Sure. Well, technically, depending on how you define it, everything's a social construct.
Right, but there's a little sleight of hand going on in a lot of these videos where they're
Yes, all
pointing
of
to
these
things that are
videos.
not, they're pointing to things that are definitely not a social
Well,
construct. Like if you possess something,
mhm.
is that a social construct? I mean, the property rights around owning something is definitely a social construct, but like physical possession of an item, I don't know, is a social construct. I mean, you either
Well,
possess it or you don't, right?
right. But that's so. This is all the argument about social construct is all Sitch's law. Okay, it all is dependent on how you're defining your terms here.
Correct. Yes.
And this the social construct stuff is all Mott and Bailey bullshit. Okay, and they'll say something is a social construct, like the example that Abigail gives is motherhood. Okay, so they say motherhood is a social construct, and then when you push back against that, they say, whoa, here's my Mott. Okay, the Mott is just that a social construct means human beings are deciding to categorize certain things in certain ways, to put certain traits together into a category. That's a human decision. Okay, that's the social construct element. But the Bailey part, the part that they're hiding from you, is that the reason they're labeling something as a social construct is because they think it's oppressive and needs to be deconstructed and eliminated. And that's the real argument that's going on here. And the problem that when you have these arguments with people is that people generally instinctively have a good sense of people's Baileys in these arguments. So when someone brings up something like motherhood is a social construct, they're emotionally reacting to the real argument, the Bailey argument. But then the conversation can't progress because the person arguing will just keep throwing the mod at you and it doesn't get ever addressed. They go, you're so stupid. You just don't understand what I mean. You just don't understand what the word means. You don't understand how I'm defining this, blah, blah, blah. And the conversation just repeats for like an hour. And we saw this on, I talked about this when Hunter was on. Hunter experienced this very thing when they were talking about whether race is a social construct. And the conversation just dies. And I think Philosophy Tube's point for making this video is she's trying to win the social construct argument for the leftists.
Well, I've done a lot of creative writing. Sitch, I don't know if you know this about me, but I like to write stuff. Fancy myself a comedy writer. And I know in writing there's like man versus man and there's man versus nature. And one seems to embody something I like to call social pressure. And the other one seems to embody something I call natural pressure, like the environment, you versus the environment. And sometimes I see a lot of conflation going on between those two. They seem to think that, you versus nature can somehow be defined as a social construct and you can move away from that. I don't know that that's a possibility. Maybe one day. Like, what do you do in a situation where nature is the oppressor?
Well, no, I think, okay, but here's the issue. They would say that they don't need to move away from nature, okay? They would say, and as Philosophy Tube says in the video, that the social construct is just using natural facts and then categorizing them together into a category. That's the social construct element.
Can you rephrase that?
So, okay, so for example, the example I always use is the difference between the moon and the sun is a social construct.
Right. Because
okay.
we
and you say that doesn't make any sense.
Right, because of
the sun is
nature
a
thing. Right.
gaseous, not the difference, the categorical difference. So, for example, you say, well, it doesn't make any sense. It's the sun is based off of physical properties. It's a ball of gas and plasma. It's shooting light everywhere. The moon is just a piece of rock. that revolves around the Earth. Okay, you say there's a
reflective
physical,
surface,
right? There's a physical difference between these two entities. How can that be a social construct? And then the leftists or the social constructionists will come in and say, well, it's a human decision to say that all celestial objects that are balls of plasma and give off heat and light and are certain sizes and whatever are stars. That's a human decision to lump all these things together and say this is an entity, and that it's a different entity from a moon. And that's how they circumvent the argument that you're making.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. But it's Sitch's law. It's just arguing over definitions. It's like, what the fuck? A sun and a satellite are completely different things in reality. No matter what kind of definition you put on them, it doesn't matter because...
Yeah, but the issue is that when you have these arguments, it's the most effective way to get around this is just to take the broadest definition of social construct, which they agree to in these conversations, and you just say, okay, everything's a social construct, therefore the term is meaningless and useless, so we're not even going to talk about it.
Right. You've just made I think the term social construction is useful. I do. I think it's
I'm not sure it is. I'm not sure it is.
Really? Oh my God. That's a pretty...
Well, how is it useful?
Well, in separating things that are constructs between human beings, like language is a social construct. I mean, if it seems like if you're wanting to
is
change...
language a social construct, Adam? That's based in biology. What do you mean?
The language acquisition hardware in our beings is based in is not a social construct. That's that's like a natural reality.
Yeah.
But the language that we acquisition is in the environment. It's like, I think of a social construct as an agreement between individuals in a social setting. This is why I find the concept so useful, is because in morality, the way I define morality is a set of rules that binds individuals into a cooperative community. That cooperative community is a social construct. That's the whole point of it.
But your definition still applies to the moon-sun difference, because it's a bunch of people deciding and agreeing that we should categorize all stars as being stars based on their properties.
Yeah. So, but what are we disagreeing about?
I'm disagreeing that I don't think that labeling something as a social construct provides any utility.
Yeah, the utility would be in clarity of communication, but it seems like really people are just using it to obscure things rather than to make things clear. Right. The utility's lost if you're using it to obscure things.
Well, unfortunately that seems to be so much of like leftist philosophy is obscuring things with word games.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true of all philosophy or if it's just leftist philosophy.
Well, this is
very bizarre.
This is the whole point of the video. And I watched it a couple times because I kept thinking, what is the fucking point here? What is the goddamn motherfucking point? Like what am I watching this video to learn? When I make a video, Sitch, like you've made a couple videos. Like if
I've occasionally made a video. Yeah.
If you're trying to explain something like a concept, like privilege plus power equals racism.
Right.
Like you're like, this is what I want to accomplish. I want to get this information into people's brains. What is the purpose of this video?
Well, I'll tell you. I know what the purpose of this video is. The purpose of this video is so that leftists can win arguments on the internet.
Oh, okay. Good.
That's the point of the video.
It's political grandstanding.
That's exactly, yeah, literally.
So hypothetically, this argument that they're going to win, what's the point of the argument? What is the argument?
To feel good on the internet that you pwned some idiot. What do you mean, Adam? What is this?
Oh my God. Arguments. It seems, aren't you arguing a point?
You go on Twitter.
Arguments, you're arguing a point of reality. You're saying, this is my argument for how reality is. What is your counter argument? Let us debate. Let us debate this argument.
You go on Twitter and you say sex is a social construct, And then all the reactionaries that go, "What are you talking about? You stupid, blah, blah, blah." And then you say, "No, idiot, you don't know what it means to be a social construct." And then you link your Philosophy Tubes video and bam.
Masculinity and femininity are social constructs. I mean, I would argue that they come out of some biological component, but
everything's a social construct. So when you say this, I don't know.
No,
what
it's
you mean.
not. Not
Yes,
everything is a social construct.
Every categorization is technically a social construct.
What do you call it when you, like, what is the developmental stages of human development? Like
So-
fetus to that's not a social construct. No human beings got together and said, this is how a human being is going to gestate in the womb and be born and all that. Like the whole that's not a social construct.
Okay, but you're okay, but again, you're using the words slightly incorrectly.
Okay.
When you say something's a social construct, what you mean is something is not rooted in biology.
I mean, it is a agreement between social beings that the contract is between individuals. Like, we all get together and we agree that this word means this. And even when we're debating, when we fall into debates about Sitch's law and whatnot, we're debating definitions. People are arguing about the social contract. They're saying, listen, I think the social contract is critical race theory means X. No, you mean the social contract. And we're arguing that stuff out. That is the social contract.
Yeah, but you understand that using your fetus example, like, yes, the physical object of the fetus going through the various stages is not a social construct.
But defining it, yes.
But
categorizing
defining it as stages, okay, and saying that certain traits mean it's in certain stages, that is the social construction element.
Right, I agree. Yeah. Okay. Where do we delineate a stage? Well, the whole fucking abortion debate is over where do we fucking delineate a stage.
Right.
Yes, I get that.
Sure.
So yes, I think we can talk about, this is the social contract component of social constructionism, and this is not the contract, because none of us can change that. Whenever we run into some fact that none of us can change, then all of a sudden the social contract is moot, because none of us can change that aspect.
Exactly.
But this already, we have had a 10 times more in-depth conversation about social constructs, what they mean, how you define them, than is in this fucking video.
Well, see, you just accidentally stumbled upon the key here, which is you said, if we're having a debate about something you can't control, then it's moot, right?
Yes, yeah.
But that's the whole point of them labeling something as a social construct, is to say, well, we can control every aspect of reality because everything is a social construct.
Right.
That's the point of this all.
Yeah. Hard doubt on that one.
And to be clear,
Man versus nature still exists. Those movies are badass. Alien, Man versus nature.
Sure. Well, and to be clear, when I say everything is a social construct, what I mean is every categorization is a social construct.
When the alien's trying to kill you, is that just a social construct?
Yeah, obviously that's not a social construct. I mean,
when the alien's little mouth comes out and like gets you in the back of the head.
Well, even they would say, well, like how you're defining the classifications.
Oh my God, we're using words. Oh my God, we're using words.
Terrible.
We just drifted into the social.
But see, that's my whole point. That's
ridiculous.
Why I'm saying that's why I'm saying it's not useful. There's no utility to defining things as social constructs.
Oh, Sitch and I are going to box. We're in big disagreement over that. I think. Because social constructs. I mean, it's useful.
It's not. It's not useful.
Economics is all social construction.
Okay, hold on. I'm not saying that social constructs themselves, like economics, are not useful. I'm saying labeling it a social construct is not useful.
Okay, I gotcha. That's a huge difference. All right.
Yes.
We're good.
Okay, obviously there are social constructions that provide an infinite amount of utility to human beings.
I thought you were coming out against like sociology or behavioral economics. All right.
No.
Shall we continue? We're only 22 seconds in, but I feel like we've We've already unmasked this video.
Yes.